Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Kate. Welcome to the telenovela that is the story of the starseed lightworker, energy healer, hippie woo-woo, new age, new thought, whatever. The person who is working for the good of the many and is working in the light. That's kind of my story, and if this is your first time at my channel, welcome. Thank you for showing up. I'm very informal when I'm informal, and I'm uptight and flying it real high and tight whenever I am. And right now, this isn't one of those. I just thought I'd put in the next installment of my awareness of what else can I understand, a new interpretation metaphysically of. What can I allow the universe and divinity to express to me so that I can know more about myself and how to deal with reality, real D, 3D, as I'm moving my way up into higher consciousness and 5D, 4D, 5D, 12D, any D. Higher consciousness of me. Well, the way that I do that is I seek out all kinds of different input. I study a lot of ancient religions and philosophies, and I also look for the metaphysical interpretation in movies, plays, TV shows. It doesn't matter. Interaction anywhere that I see, a story, a book, a parable, anything. So my latest nerd out was at a theater. I live in Colorado Springs, and there's a theater here with comfy reclining seats, and you can order terrible food. Terrible for me, it made my stomach hurt. Yeah, don't eat that fried pickle. I wanted it really badly though, and so I made that choice, and boy, I was unhappy with my choice. Anyway, my personal story of digestive woe because I chose badly. Anyway, it's a great theater, and I sat down because I took myself over there on my first date since I moved to Colorado a couple of months ago, was to go over there and see Spider-Man, No Way Home. Now, I'm new to nerding out with Marvel Comics and the universe, the multiverse of Marvel Comics superheroes and characters and the Avengers and what have you. However, I started probably about 6 months ago. I just listened to Spirit, and my guides just kind of put me in the right direction of 222. What can help me understand my life right at this moment, help me cope, help me process and alchemize anything that doesn't feel really good, alchemize that up, not down, and don't trash it out and down cycle that energy. Let's upcycle that energy and move it on. So how can I do that? And I had just moved into another place following divorce, and long story, the tragedy that was my life, just like wherever it was that everybody else's tragedy led them, that's the parking point, and we start there. That I turned on my Netflix, my Hulu, whatever, and was like, okay, what do I do now? And I just got a new phone, so I was given a year of Disney Plus for free. Okay, so I go check out Disney Plus, and all of a sudden I find myself, I've never been interested in Thor, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, any of that, Green Lantern. I didn't know anything about him. I used to watch, what was that, Last Man Standing, and Kyle always made me laugh because he wore the Iron Man mask all the time. And I thought he was a dork and a nerd. Now how's that for a little bit of, you're the dork and the nerd now, because I would totally wear that and get into cosplay, maybe. I don't know. Learning new things about myself, I might be willing to do that because that sounds like fun. So anyway, the precursor to going to cosplay is you probably should know the movies and the characters. So I've never seen any of those Spider-Mans. I watched Black Panther, which I'm totally dorking out waiting for the second one, which is coming, in the fall. Okay. I'm anxiously waiting for that. And I watched Captain America, maybe the first two or so. I didn't watch them I wasn't comfortable with the order that was given online, either chronologically or in order of appearance as they would, from the comic strips, So I just kind of let divinity speak to me, and I came across all of these characters, right, and never watched Spider-Man. And all of a sudden, a few days ago, this movie's been out for a while, No Way Home, and I was in my jammies, quite frankly, and had been for a couple of days. I was in just the position of, recline, wasn't feeling too good, feeling a little bit, and as an energy worker and an empath, I do a lot of work energetically here, and it was just kind of tough, dealing with some emotional stuff that I'm trying to resolve, and, let's balance out that part of my life and balance out my chakras, my energy, and, heal me so that I can really receive all of the energy from divinity profanity that is available to me and not get stuck stupid somewhere with, details of something else that's less important. So why would Marvel Comics be super duper important is because it had a great metaphysical lesson that was way worthy of my time. And I don't know what that is. It always seems like I get lipstick on my teeth as I'm making videos. Is this just an opportunity for me to go, look, I don't have booger in my nose. I did have, lipstick on my teeth, but I wiped it off. So I checked before I started. And I changed my lipstick. What is that? It's an opportunity for me to say, I don't care. The message is more important that I went to go see Spider-Man because Divinity said, yeah, why don't you go to the movies? Why don't you take us to the movies? We want to go. Oh, okay. I want to go to the movies. I scrubbed my booty and I got in my car and I went over and sat down and was just absolutely taken and enraptured with the whole experience, because they brought into the discussion that not only has Spider-Man been outed, that his identity apparently in the last movie has been revealed to everybody, and they now understand him because of a rogue reporter who doesn't understand him, has made this characterization of him that he's terrible, he's bad, and some other, malfeasance that was actually responsible for it, tossed it back on Spider-Man and said it was Spider-Man's fault. Okay. And however all that worked out in the other movies, I don't know. I didn't see them. So pull into where, Spider-Man number infinity, whatever number it is. And so the multiverse idea that the current Spider-Man of today is waking up to everybody knows my identity, and then because of misunderstanding a spell and jacking around with Dr. Strange about, well, wait a minute, I want to change the parameters of the spell. I want to change the parameters of what I want. I'm ordering up, my manifestation with you, Dr. Strange, but I want to hold on a second. And the guy's mid, I'm casting spell here. What's wrong with you, dude? 707. What don't you understand about this is a lot of energy I'm working with. And he's got the physical representation of all this energy. They're like, hello, kid. I knew there's a reason that I don't want you to call me by my first name. Call me sir. And know what you're doing, and stop that. And so what ends up happening is because he's jerked it around so much and changed it so many times, the spell is contaminated, and it actually releases from the multiverse into our reality here in 3D, our universe. Then it released all these monsters that in other multiverse experiences, those monsters were fighting a completely different Spider-Man. And they knew when they got here and arrived that I gotta go get Spider-Man. I gotta go kill him. And when they come upon Peter Parker, they don't care that, you're not Spider-Man. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, cool. Well, you'll do. And they're willing to bring their old baggage, if that couldn't be more representative, 808, of what we do with our reincarnation theory or our just, bad life. And I'm carrying it forward and hating out here because I'm unresolved about the bad stuff that already happened. These multiverse monsters, which, there's a rogue octopus kind of thing and a big dusty rock thing. I don't know what he is. He's like a big giant thing of dirt, and he sits down on the couch and boom, his icky is everywhere, like the pigpen dust cloud. It's contaminating everywhere. And Happy's his condo is being dirtied and sullied by garbage from multiverse that's punishing the wrong Peter Parker. Not that we should be punishing, in my humble opinion. They're not even satisfied with, that I can't wait until I find the Peter Parker. I'm gonna shut you down because you're a Peter Parker. You're Spider-Man? Cool. You're here. I'll take you then. And that also to me represents that I'm mad and I don't care who's in front of me. As long as I can squirt my rage out on somebody, then all right, I'm good until it builds up again. And so this movie, at the very end, the Willem Dafoe character, I don't remember what his character's name is. He's nasty. I mean, he plays it. He's like the reptilian / what do you call that, negative entity attachment, demon attachment, possessed by the devil. I mean, he's that representation of the good and evil. He's the core of, ew, that's just horrible, because he plays May, the aunt, I think she is, Peter's aunt. He plays her about, oh, you know, I'm lost. And she's just telling Peter the right thing to do is, you know, help these monsters go back home. This is our job. This is your job. You're a superhero. That's what you're supposed to do. You know, take up your mat and, you know, zip it about how you don't want to do that. You shouldn't have to, yada, yada, yada. And so he really struggles a little bit. And then he absolutely, after the Willem Dafoe character has wiped May out, he killed her. Then when the current Peter Parker comes and finds him, and he's got the other two Spider-Mans, the other two representations of Spider-Man, 2 and 3 he calls them, there, it's a good thing that they step in and say, oh yeah, we're keeping the ethic of Spider-Man and we don't murder him like that. We know that you need to neutralize him and remove him from the equation. However, doing it spitefully, 1044, because he murdered May, you murdering him that way is wrong. Don't do that. And he didn't. He did ultimately have to turn around and take that Willem Dafoe character out, because he had to be stopped. It was the way that he did his job, though. The other Spider-Man said, that's not what we're about. That's not how that happens. 11/11, Twin Flame, thanks. Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. That isn't what we're about, and that's not the code of the Spider-Man ethic. That's not how we play this. And, you know, it could unleash Willem Dafoe to go back to another multiverse, because ultimately he still made it back. He still went home. His eyes were still, if I remember the movie correctly, he was awake, alive, or whatever, and he wasn't completely dead. Like, the Spider-Man hadn't killed him anyway, and he got to go home. All the monsters got to go home. And there is, I guess, the assumption that they could have chosen badly again and then been brought back into our experience with bad spell and bad magic and, you know, terrible voodoo and dark magic gone bad. But the understanding was that healing needs to be brought. Wherever there's healing that's necessary to be brought, that's what's expected. Do that. And it was a really great reminder for me, because I get, you know, dragged down sometimes in that, you know, why can't everybody just play nice? You know, why do we have to have Willem Dafoe's everywhere? And why can't we have, like, the octopus guy? He was a real jerk too. And then when he finally was relieved of all the pain and the suffering, that he was like, oh. And I felt that, because the times that I reach into my faith and I'm able to have that relief, or I make contact with an actual human being and they're offering that kind of comfort, I can't rely on another person to bring that to me. But when they do, that's such sweet relief. And it was such what an infusion of inspiration that, yes, sometimes that spiritual warfare stuff, when we're moving energy off of us, which is really what that is, if we're open and susceptible to receive all that negativity and bullcrap, we can, and we will. And we will be hexed, vexed, and spellbound with terrible magic, that people are absolutely practicing magic, and hateful intention is just as magical and equally as dangerous, because that hateful stuff that we're not targeting specifically, it's just out there in the ethers, joining collectives where they are very specific in their intention to cause harm. So now, you know, it was not the time that Spider-Man was going to lose his mind and say, yeah, I think I'll just take care of that like this. No, the bad guy's still the bad guy and he gotta go. However, don't stop slow, Spider-Man. Do it the right way. And we don't lose our trident and trophy kill here. Not in this multiverse. And monster or not, do the right thing. You know, pull it up into speed there, little guy. And the other two Spider-Mans, the Spider-Man 2 and 3, were very kind about it. They just had the expectation that that's not the code of the Spider-Man. Don't do that. So thank you very much. I'm going to end it there and say that if you have not gotten into any of that and that appeals to you at all, maybe if you haven't thought about it metaphysically, you might want to look at what does that mean to me and how does that represent the conflict of good and evil, and how is it resolved in that movie, and how might that translate to my everyday life in how I don't just stab somebody in the neck because they stabbed somebody that I loved or they stabbed me. Is that actually going to help? Not really. It might help to, you know, give us a sense that we've exacted revenge and we've gotten balance. But that's a chronic problem when it continues to be that we have to keep amping up the level of violence to squirt that rage out and actually feel release. So with that, I leave you to your own devices and Spider-Man if you care to. Take care of yourself and remember, get within, you're divine, absolutely fine. Take care, I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.